never designed in your entire life, or you've been designing for 20 plus years, and anywhere in between that. There is one thing that I think we don't consider enough in our work. We're talking the chocolate to our peanut butter, we're talking the frosting to the cake, barbecue sauce to our ice cream. Maybe it's good, I don't know, maybe I'll try that afterwards. It's this magical word called hierarchy. It is so effective, and not enough people take the time to really consider it. Hierarchy is this idea that the text that you put on a page or a website or whatever has an order of importance. Like, for example, if I'm gonna have a birthday party and I wanna have it at the park, well, when I write my invites, I'm not going to lead with park location, right? Instead of my birthday, because I want everyone to come and celebrate me, not just feed the ducks. And what I found is that however you rank the order of importance on a page, a lot of times that's how people will read it. And there's a few ways you can do that that's really cool. You can separate text of order of importance through the size of a font. So you could have all of your text be the same font, but just different sizes. Or you could separate it out by color. You could separate it out by different fonts. Now be careful with that, because too many fonts can be a crazy, crazy party, and I don't know if you want that. You could maybe comment below and let me know what kind of party you should have like 40 fonts on. Let me show you a very specific example of how hierarchy can go wrong. But I did receive something in the mail that prompted this entire video, and I thought it would be worth sharing a little bit about. When it goes wrong, it can go wrong. Okay, this flyer needs a little work. This is a classic example of if everything's important, then we need to make sure that everything is highlighted so you know that it's important. But the problem with choosing to not order these in rank, I might not look at this as the very beginning of my page. If I open this up, the first thing I'm gonna be looking at is this image. My eyes are immediately drawn to the center. I mean, if we look at it, this takes up almost a third of that flyer. If you want to catch my attention, we should probably move this up and then have this image layered right next to it, so we know that they're connected. I understand that they have this arrow here, probably to try to get you to continue reading down the page. I immediately cut off this part. I go here and then I go down here. So I have an idea. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this up, and we're gonna rearrange this together to kind of figure out how we could make this a little bit better. Let's cut it. Boop. Now that we have all of these pieces cut up, we need to think about order of rank. Like I mentioned, with the photo being so heavy and taking up so much of our page, maybe we should move it to the top. So that way it gets us to read all the way through down and we don't miss any information up at the top. So I'm going to move this photo up here. If I was in a place to edit this in a software, I would make that image larger. So then we have this image, and I think that this would be really good to put next to it. And so having these photos next to each other or even stacked on top can tell our mind subconsciously that these two things are connected. The whole point of this flyer is to try to tell us that there's something that we need to be aware of when we're mowing our lawn. I think instead of having the title here, wired external water meter antenna, I would probably move "you might have noticed" further up. Because this, you might have noticed, catches my eye more than wired external water meter antenna. And then probably what I would do is have a nice image of this lawnmower off to the side. As I'm reading this, I'm going to see "you might have noticed" and then a lawnmower. This picture gives us context for what we should be noticing. I actually really like this next. Please be very aware and cautious of this antenna when driving or mowing near it. I like that it ends with this: antenna costs if damaged. Just letting us know that, hey, if you break it, you buy it. Okay, Greenville, I'll make sure of that. Followed by City of Greenville, the footer. And that's pretty common to have your contact information in the footer of a flyer. I like that that's put there. Okay, so we have this title, which clearly we need, right? Wired external water meter antenna, okay? Clearly that's important. But you know what I might do instead of having it be all the way across? I think I'm going to cut this in half. So I probably would have this text laying over this photo. And I like this arrow. I think that was a good design choice. But instead of it going straight down, I might have it go like this. And it's okay if part of this image is covered up because the text explains what it is because they're layered on top of each other. I kind of like that layered look. I think it's interesting. This is kind of just a rough idea of how I would actually lay this out if I was the one designing this flyer. I would probably put it in Illustrator or InDesign and play around with it a little bit more. But just from a layout perspective, I think this makes a little bit more sense. I didn't just think about the text, I also thought about how the images and the text go together. Order of importance, I think, is the image first, then followed by the call. Well, you might have noticed, and a phrase like that is cautious enough for me, especially as somebody who lives in the city, to say, ooh, what do I need to notice with the context of this picture here? We have an image and the text, and then what I need to be looking for, I need to be aware of it. Reiterating once again that this is going to be important. And then this is what happens if you're not noticing them, followed by where you can go for more information. This is why hierarchy is important. This is why we need to take into consideration how people are going to read something. So that way nobody, when they're mowing their lawn, ends up hitting their wired external water meter. So shout out to Greenville for sending me a flyer. This was a really great project. Happy lawn mowing. Don't hit any water meters.